Google Nexus, two words that, until now, have embodied many things: stock Android, budget devices, open software development, SIM-unlocked smartphones or tablets, updates first, and Google leading the way. But the phrase Google Nexus has never been confused with premium build or pricing, or with words like expensive, overpriced, or poor value. Instead of competing directly with Android OEMs, Google reached out to one of them and had them build a single product, either a smartphone, tablet, or media streaming device. Manufacturers like HTC, Samsung, Asus, LG, and Motorola partnered with Google to make an unlocked device that Google would use to put a stock version of the Android operating system on and provide updates first to and sell at a somewhat subsidized price directly to the masses, or allow carriers to sell in their stores. This Nexus line started in 2010 with the Nexus 1 smartphone and carried on year after year with new versions with more powerful hardware, larger screens, higher quality, and competitive pricing with the Nexus S and Galaxy Nexus. In 2012, Google started releasing tablets in the same manner with the Nexus 7 and 10, and things started to change. The Nexus name became synonymous with budget pricing on flagship devices, and this continued with the Nexus 4 smartphone later that same year. You could buy an unlocked $200 tablet or $300 smartphone directly off the Google Play Store, formerly known as the Android Marketplace, and the popularity of the Nexus line really started to take off. And a year later, in 2013, the Nexus 7 tablet got a refresh, and then the Nexus 5 smartphones came out. And again, these were decent options with highly competitive prices. You couldn't really buy a smartphone or tablet at these prices from any other brand that were comparable in terms of quality and performance. And this is where things started to change for the Android ecosystem. Android OEMs could not produce competing devices and make a profit. And as we all know, businesses are not charities and they cannot afford to sell at a loss. And while Google makes far more money out of ad revenue and by making its services free, the company can afford to subsidize a line of products that will allow these services to spread worldwide. But no Android manufacturer outside of Samsung have been enjoying any great amount of success in the last few years, and they can't offer products that compete directly with the Nexus line. They would either have to make premium devices or low-end devices and make deals with carriers to sell on-contract items. Companies like HTC, Motorola, and Sony were hemorrhaging money and finding little success in Western markets and not doing much better overseas. Several months ago, we heard rumors that the Nexus line was going away and in its place would be Android Silver, a device line running stock Android but made and sold directly by different brands. You'd have devices from Samsung, HTC, Motorola, and Sony available from their own stores, sold in carriers and electronic stores, or at the Google Play Store itself. These would not necessarily be budget devices and would no longer be subsidized by Google, but you would see premium, mid-range, and low-end smartphones and tablets running stock Android with their care and support provided by the OEMs or the carriers, but with the operating system and Google apps still updated directly by Google. But at the time that these rumors started surfacing, the popularity of the Google Nexus line within the Android community, at this point in time being the largest mobile operating system in the world, had too much pull. Android Silver was not met with much public support by the general public and a large core of stock Android purists in the tech press, so the Nexus line would continue, though changed. This year, the Nexus 6 phablet and 9 tablet were announced and released, but these were not the budget Androids many people were looking for. A smartphone with a 6-inch display and a tablet with a 9-inch 4:3 aspect ratio, both sold for more expensive and unsubsidized prices, and they've been sold, at least at the recording time of this video, with limited success on the Google Play Store or on the manufacturer's website. Instead of the $200 to $250 tablet, there's a $400 to $480 tablet. Instead of a $300 to $350 smartphone, there's a $650 or $700 smartphone. The Nexus lineup has changed in the course of a single year, and the prices have nearly doubled. One takeaway that I've gotten from all this is that the Nexus 9 is actually a little bit of a middle point between the Nexus 7 and Nexus 10 tablets, just as the Nexus 6 is a middle point between the Nexus 5 smartphone and the Nexus 7 tablet. I feel that Google is trying to compete less with the phones and tablets of today in the Android space in terms of common device and screen sizes, and offer a reduced product offering, as well as no longer subsidizing their own tablets or smartphones to harm other Android brands or OEMs. I also think that the platform has grown a lot in the last few years, and there's less a need for them, Google, to lead by example and force improvement of the market space with their own Nexus line. And while I think the Nexus line might actually continue, I think it'll be relegated to a single smartphone and tablet from now on, and no longer be the cheap alternatives we came to expect in the past couple years. I think it'll continue to be a stock Android alternative, but even now we see OEMs like Motorola and HTC offer smoother and more streamlined and efficient user experiences that have more features to help differentiate between each other and offer more than the bare bones experience that stock Android provides. But what I'd like to see in the future are more Nexus devices from other OEMs, and essentially replace the name of Android Silver with Nexus and call it a day. We see examples of the Moto G and E smartphones sold at highly competitive prices and attaining pretty good popularity worldwide by Motorola, and HTC is currently in the process of improving their mid-range line of phones with the Desire I, 600, and 800 series. Even Sony is making a lot of headway into the Western market with their Xperia line, and we also see up-and-comers like Oppo and OnePlus making waves with their offerings. And Samsung, of course, has models and prices and sizes for all people, essentially. So imagine more Nexus devices to choose from. You don't want a 6-inch phablet that costs $700 or a 9-inch tablet that costs $400. Maybe we could see other options in the future with the Nexus branding by other manufacturers. Wouldn't that be great? Anyways, I wanted to make this video as sort of food for thought. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.